garbage don't understand that you could bring charges against them. It's legally, you understand what I'm saying? It's illegal to slander people like that, especially like reputations, like people who make a living, you know what I mean? I try to make a living like everybody else. And they're like, oh, you know, he's always hugging people. Well, you know what? I don't have to. I mean, I can lock myself in a box. Is that what the fans really want? You're making my point for me. Do you see what I'm saying here? You're the majority. And the majority needs to stand up to that kind of garbage. He always does this coffee line with young girls, and he's such a pervert. Hey, moron, they asked me to do it. I don't know how to break it to you, but they asked me to in the presence of 300 people. There's nothing, you know what I mean? It's not like secretly. And half the time, you know, everybody's watching. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing shady about it. It's all in good fun. And then there's just a handful of people that make that kind of garbage, and they just throw such a wet blanket over, you know, over the enthusiasm and the fun. Yes, next question. Clearly I won't bow to peer pressure. Did you just ask me to do the coffee line? God damn it, girl. Come here, come with me. This is gonna be the best one ever. This is gonna be for all the haters out there. See, but now we're giving them the attention. See what I'm saying? It's tough. Okay, what's your... Somebody hold this, I'll hold it. Are you... You know what? I'm going to record it. I'm going to be your cameraman, and... Wait a minute, we got to flip it around here. Ah! There you are, look. Oh, yeah. Looking good, girl. Not so good. Good, not so good. Good. Okay. Okay, guys, for those of you that don't know, there's a scene in Oran High School where this girl that's at the host club is afraid to try Commoner's coffee. Do you know the lines? Do you know what you're supposed to say? And this is how the line went, all right? It's for all you haters out there. Did you ask me? I'd like a disclaimer. Did you ask me to do this? Yeah. She asked me. Are we not recording? Oh, we need to start over. Okay. There you are. There's me. There's you. There's you. There's me. No, wait. For all you haters, what's your name?
Tamara.
This is Tamara. And Tamara, did you ask me to do the coffee?
Yes.
She asked me. She asked me. Okay. Here we go. Ready?
I don't know if I should drink this coffee. My father may be angry with me.
Oh, Tamara. I gotta get hard. What if I let you drink it from my mouth? Yay, Tamara! I'm in love with you, Tamara. Wait for me. But if I do, meat lovers. That's what I order. Meat lovers. If it's meat, put it on there. And then top it with jalapenos. And crushed red pepper. Oh yeah. And I like thin crust. I like thin crust better than the thick crust. And I always tell them to put light sauce on it. Because I hate when you bite into the pizza and it goes and you know, and the sauce squirts out everywhere. So I always tell them to put light sauce. So there it is. Yes.
What's your favorite moment recording in sounding?
That's another favorite breath line. You know what, sweetie? I've had so many wonderful experiences. No, that's not a favorite moment. That's not a favorite moment. Those are moments that have become well known, but wow, let me think about this. Favorite moment in the booth. Wow. Do you know how long I've been doing this, sweetheart? Like 15 years. Maybe more, actually. And over 300 different series and video games and stuff. And they start to meld together sometimes, you know? I've had experiences that when they were happening, I said to myself, make a note of this. Make a mental note of this because this is a great moment, and this is a really fun moment, or an endearing moment, and the fans would love to know about this moment. And then I forget about it.
Yeah.
I forget, because it just kind of gets jumbled in with all of the sessions that I've done. I remember specific things, like, for instance, I remember recording the last line of Full Metal. Like, I even put my phone on the windowsill and recorded myself doing the last line of Brotherhood. You know, there's no such thing as equivalent exchange. It doesn't exist. You know that one? Heart Made Full Metal? Yeah. Oh, I just got chills. So I remember I remember pieces of things. I remember recording a show called Air. Does anybody know that show? So beautiful. What's your name?
Julie.
Julie, you have to check out this show. It's so beautiful. It's so moving. Air, A-I-R. And I played this homeless guy who lives on the seawall, and he's hungry, and you know, nobody likes him. You know, he's a homeless guy. Nobody hangs out with him. He's all by himself. And it's the story of him and this girl named Misuzu, who is herself a loner. Nobody at school likes her. She's kind of weird. Doesn't get along with people. You know, people just don't treat her very nice. And she becomes friends. She reaches out to this homeless guy, and they become friends. It's beautiful. And I remember moments of that because there was a scene where my character Yukito, there was a scene where he was sitting down on this little river bank. And Misuzu came along and asked him to come up and play with her, or come up and talk to her or something. And so he starts climbing up the riverbank. Well, when you do stuff like that, you're voice acting, you make the effort sounds of climbing up the hill. So as you're watching Yukito climb up the hill, and we're recording, I'm going, right? Just little sounds, effort sounds. We got up to the very top of the hill, and in the anime, Misuzu reaches out her hand. She's going to pull him to help him get up to the top of the hill. I don't know what got into me that day. I was in a good mood, and we were having a good time. Kyle Jones was the one directing. And we were recording that final sound of me going right up to the top of the hill. And I was getting ready to record it. It was like, boop, 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 the 3 beeps right before you start recording. And I went, and it was so funny because, I mean, like, even on the anime, Yukito goes, you know what I mean? And we started cracking up laughing. And I couldn't record anymore because every time I started to say a line, I'd start laughing because it worked so perfectly in my brain. And then, like, there was a scene that he and Misuzu, they sit down on a bench, and as soon as he sat down, I went, I mean, and we started doing it all the time. And it was laughing so hard that I couldn't even get a line of dialogue out. That I get a lot of the hatred is because of the whole Yowie thing.
Oh my God.
Now, let me explain something to you guys. I have heard the most outrageous lies about me and Yowie. Some of them include anybody that asks him to sign Yowie, he yells at them and cusses them out, walks away. Never happened. Ever, never, ever in the history of mankind. I've never done that to a fan. Number 2, he threw a Sharpie at a fan once who asked him to sign Yowie. Never, ever, ever happened. One time I got up and walked away from an autograph session because somebody asked me to sign Yowie. Never, ever, 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 ever happened. Another one was that I was currently suing a hotel because somebody slipped Yowie under my door. Never, ever, ever. Do you even understand how stupid that is? Number one, you can't sue a hotel for something somebody put under your door. And number two, no one has ever slipped anything under my door in 15 plus years and 300 conventions. Okay? Lie, 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 lie. I'm not a Yowie fan, but I'm a you fan. I love you. And if people ask me to sign something, here's the way a Yowie interaction goes. Ready? Will you be a part of my plan? I want you to say, Vic, would you sign my Yowie? Here we go. This is exactly how it goes. Swear to God.
Vic, will you sign my Yowie?
Oh, sweetheart, you know what? It's not really my thing, but I'd love to sign something else for you. Can I sign this for you? Can we get a picture together? See that? Tell the sweetness? That's how it goes. It's never being rude. It's never being cruel. It's never being a jerk. But that's literally the source of this whole, some of this stuff was free. Because there are people out there that, you know, I got a really interesting, this is really interesting. I got an email yesterday, you guys, from a fan that said, I find it, and this is the first time a fan has written, of all the letters I've gotten about this stuff that's happened around free. This fan said, I find it really interesting that they somehow think you shouldn't play this character just because you're not necessarily a big fan of Yowie, and these certain people want to make that such a big part of the free fandom. They said, I think that's really weird because Edward Elric's like anti-God, agnostic little kid, and you are not anything but. And yet they don't give you a big hard time about that. And I thought, that's a really good point. It's a very good point. Because that's why it's called acting, guys. You're playing a role. You don't have to be that person. In fact, most actors wouldn't get very much work if you had to be exactly like the character you were playing. Our ending to a panel than that. You heard it here in Vic Mignogna, the pervert's Q&A session, Cockosaurus Rex, the horniest dinosaur of them all. Is that right? You guys, I'm going to go out to the table here, so they want you to just stay seated for 1 second. And, I mean, if you're going to come out to autographs, then I'll see you in just a few minutes. But I love you guys. Sorry?
You're a good Kirk.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love Captain Kirk. He was my childhood hero, so it's a pleasure to be able to play him. Thank you for that. You guys, I hope you enjoyed the panel. I love you dearly, and I want the very, very best for you. And let me just say something. You know what? I am so profoundly grateful to God for what I get to do. And I mean that. And I'm not being churchy. I'm just saying I believe that the opportunities that I have been given come from somewhere, not me. And I am so grateful for the chance to do what I get to do. And getting to meet you guys and interact with you guys is my favorite part of this job. People ask me, why do you do so many conventions? Well, that's easy. Because I love the fans. You know, and I really enjoy interacting with you, and I want the very, very best for all of you. So I'm going to go out to this table, and if you come by autographs, I will see you then. Be here tomorrow morning as well, so thanks for coming to the panel. Thanks, guys.